Hello, friends. Welcome to this edition of Multiverse. And today we are going to talk about uh, 10 weird facts about Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet. What could be more weird? It has lot of strange facts which will tell you one by one. So let's go to our live feed. As you can see, this is a live feed from Mercury planet, and Mercury is moving around silently. But what is weird about it? I think the first fact is Mercury is the second densest planet in our solar system. And I want your messages to guess which is the densest planet. But nevertheless, Mercury is the second densest. It is very small and it is very, very heavy. The material on Mercury weighs a lot, and it is made of these hard metals like iron, nickel, cobalt, and that is what makes it so dense. And since it is dense, it has a substantial amount of gravity. The next fact is the Mercury day is longer than its year. Well, Mercury is so close to Sun that it is tidally locked to Sun. That means that more or less only one side of the Mercury always faces the Sun. It is pretty much like Moon is tidally locked to Earth. We always see one side of Moon from Earth. So similar to this, Mercury is also tidally locked to Sun, and hence the entire year is longer. Is actually shorter than the day on Mercury. So this is a strange phenomena, because we can imagine satellite facing their planet only one side, but as a planet it's a very strange phenomena. Next, Mercury has wrinkles on its surface. So it seems that uh, Mercury is cooled down very rapidly, and the core in the Mercury shrunk, and because of that, the ripples are created. It's like wrinkles on the surface, and these wrinkles can be as wide as hundreds of kilometers and as deep as 1 kilometer. So these are the ripples. It's like shrunken orange, and this is a real phenomena which can be seen on Mercury. And this phenomena is not seen anywhere on any other planet in our solar system. And being such a small planet, it seems that it still has the molten core. I mean, if you look at Mars, the core of Mars is solidified. It's no longer active. Unlike the Earth core, which is very hot and it creates a lot of magnetism and a lot of geological activities, the Mercury core is still hot, and it is still in the molten state. Even though the iron and nickel and in the core may have solidified, but scientists suspect that Mercury may also have other elements like sulfur, which has a lower boiling point, and hence the core of Mercury may be in a molten state, because Mercury creates magnetic effect, and that is why we suspect that the core is still molten and it is still active. And being so close to the sun, Mercury is the second hottest planet. So again, a trivia question: can anybody guess and send a comment about the hottest planet on in the solar system? Well, nevertheless, Mercury is so close, it only takes 88 days, Earth days, to go completely one round around the sun, and it is very hot. It gets all the blast from the sun, and hence the side which is facing the sun is the second hottest in the entire solar system. And believe it or not, Mercury is only 38% the size of the Earth, slightly bigger than Moon. Still, it has an atmosphere. And it does not mean that Mercury has enough gravity to retain the atmosphere. It has a very peculiar weather system. The Mercury gets a lot of these wind from sun, and the wind from the sun, basically whatever atmosphere it has, small atmosphere, uh, it's actually blown away, and the same ionic wind actually creates an atmosphere around Mercury. In fact, this atmosphere is not very thick. It's like couple of inches, and that is why this is also known as exosphere. It is considered as a part of the planet's surface itself, but nevertheless it is made of these ionic gases which are blasted out of uh, sun, and that is why it's a strange weather system, weather pattern on Mercury. And this is so strange, Mercury, we know that Mercury is the planet, but nobody knows who discovered Mercury. Who is the person who said first that yes, this is a planet which exists at this place, and I discovered it. So it is not known about the person who actually first found about Mercury. Nevertheless, we know, I mean, if you look at the night sky, you will see Mercury always next to the Venus. And whenever there is a moonrise, the two star-like planet comes out and they shine. One of them is Venus, and next to that is Mercury. So it's hard to say that we are seeing that, but hard to associate a name because Mercury is visible by naked eyes. So nevertheless, it's a I mean, if you look at the modern astronomy, every planet, every celestial body has a discoverer, and only Mercury doesn't have a name associated with it. Well, Mercury orbit is also very crazy orbit. It has a slightly more elliptical orbit as compared to other planets. More or less, all planets are elliptical. Their orbits are elliptical, but very close to a circle. And Mercury has more elliptical orbit, and the whole point is that this orbit does not remain a fixed orbit. It keeps changing its angle of orientation. So in the ancient time, when humans were plotting the path of Mercury, they found it very difficult to determine, because it changes its position throughout the year, and it was very difficult to determine. In fact, this was one of the major problem Newton had to solve and find out how Mercury go around the sun, and that is why it has a very strange and crazy orbit pattern around the sun. It keeps changing its orientation towards, in terms of the elliptical orientation towards the sun. It keeps changing its position. Believe it or not, Mercury has ice on it. And friends, as I told you that since the planet is tidally locked to sun, only one side is visible, which is very hot. However, the other side is still very cold, and it has hardly any atmosphere to carry heat from hot side to cold side. So if there is water and there are these liquid type material, they immediately solidify. So even though Mercury is so close to sun, it gets all the blast from the sun, all the hot gases from the sun, still maintains a sub-zero temperature, and it has a water ice as well as other different types of different material ice available on the surface of Mercury. And this is the most strangest of the fact about Mercury. It has a tail. Uh, what happens is that because of the heat, the hydrogen which is trapped in the rocks of Mercury keeps evaporating out of Mercury, and then and this is a recent fact which scientists find. Just like a comet, Mercury also gives out a tail which is predominantly made of hydrogen ions, basically the nucleus of hydrogen which is positively charged, and this is because of the effect created by the solar wind. So Mercury is a planet which has a tail. When it goes around in the space, the tail follows pretty much like a comet. Well, so we have come to the end of our description about 10 weird facts about Mercury. And if you find this interesting, leave your comments. And I will meet you again tomorrow with another celestial body and their 10 weird points about that. So, saying goodbye for today, only to catch you in the next multiverse.